We are set up to be a republic, and unfortunately, ever since the time of President Woodrow Wilson and his favorite book, Philip Drew Administrator, where he convinced the U.S. Congress to go and write broad scope bills to allow the bureaucrats to create things that have the force of law, the use of force against the citizens of the United States, through regulation, through fines, through fees, and yet they are not accountable. Wilson sold that to the U.S. Congress, saying, you write those things in those broad manners, and you can sit back and say, hey, I didn't vote for that. That's not what I intended. But these unaccountable, all the comments from the other side about unaccountable, the bureaucrats are the ones that are unaccountable. We have to go back before the people every 2 years. We are supposed to be writing clearly defined laws that outline the things that are done to protect and defend the environment, the people of this Commonwealth. And we are not doing that. The states learned very quickly from the federal examples and started doing exactly the same thing. We are supposed to be the ones who are accountable, and we have not been doing it for over 100 years. The previous speaker said, well, we don't know which ones of these regulations are going to get rid of. Well, actually, this bill is exactly that, to bring it back before the legislature. And in fact, he said that, bring it here and we'll get rid of it. Well, that's exactly the intent of this bill. It's not to have one person unaccountable. It's to bring these regulations back into this body to the people who should be held accountable and are accountable every 2 years. That is the way these republics that we call the United States of America and the several states, which our U.S. Constitution says every state shall guarantee a Republican, small r Republican, form of government. This is what we are supposed to be doing. This is getting the responsibility back to the people who are actually accountable. British Columbia was the one state or provincial government that started this whole process of reducing 2 regulations for every one promulgated. Their economy took off afterwards. The Trump administration actually duplicated theirs, and they're up to 22. And it is benefiting other states, and Pennsylvania is lagging behind because we do have 153,000 regulations in this Commonwealth that nobody in this Commonwealth can tell you whether they're violating the law on any given day. This is time where our citizens can bring these things to the people who are in the legislature, bring it to the office of the repealer, and start bringing this back to this body so that we can start deciding whether or not these regulations should have the force of government, the force of law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.